The 1980s didn't just give us movies. It gave us moments. Marty McFly hitting 88 miles per hour, John McClane crawling through air vents, Ferris Bueller skipping school like it was an Olympic sport. These weren't just films. They were pop culture milestones. But beyond the usual suspects lies a lineup of 80s movies that are just as thrilling, hilarious, and unforgettable. Yet somehow, they don't get talked about nearly enough. This list isn't about the obvious hits. It's about the underappreciated legends, the cult favorites, and the jaw-dropping surprises that prove the 80s was the most electric decade in movie history. So grab your Walkman, rewind your VHS, and get ready. Because these are 10 awesome 80s movies everyone needs to see. Whether it's your first time watching or your 50th, these films still blow minds. And hey, if you're into nostalgia, retro rewinds, and the movies that shaped an era, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Yesterverse. Number 10. The Goonies, 1985. If you ever dreamed of finding buried treasure in your backyard or escaping booby traps like Indiana Jones, The Goonies was the movie that made those fantasies feel just a little more real. Directed by Richard Donner and produced by Steven Spielberg, this 1985 classic isn't just a nostalgic romp. It's the ultimate adventure story for anyone who's ever felt like an outsider. At its core, The Goonies is about a group of kids from a working-class neighborhood who stumble upon a pirate map and set off on a wild quest to save their homes from foreclosure. But what makes this movie truly unforgettable isn't the gold or the tunnels, it's the heart. You've got Mikey, the determined dreamer, Chunk, with his lovable clumsiness and legendary truffle shuffle, Data, the gadget genius with booby trap solutions, and Mouth, the sarcastic translator who can turn any moment into chaos. And let's not forget the villains, Mama Fratelli and her criminal sons, who are somehow terrifying and hilarious at the same time. Toss in a gentle giant named Sloth, who steals every scene he's in, and you've got a story that's equal parts thrilling and endearing. The film's pacing never drags. It hits you with one discovery after another. Hidden keys, skeleton pianos, collapsing bridges, each scene building on the last with pure, unfiltered 80s energy. The dialogue is sharp, the chemistry between the kids is real, and the sense of danger is just edgy enough to keep you on your toes without losing the fun. But perhaps what makes The Goonies so timeless is that it never talks down to its audience. It treats childhood like what it really is: messy, brave, awkward, and full of magic. It's a celebration of friendship, imagination, and that one summer you wish had never ended. And just when you think the adventure's over, we head straight into a teen rebellion so smooth, he made skipping school look like an art form. Number 9. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986. There are movie characters, and then there's Ferris Bueller, the guy who made playing hooky look like a life philosophy. Written and directed by John Hughes, Ferris Bueller's Day Off isn't just a teen comedy, it's a full-blown manifesto on how to squeeze the most joy out of life without getting caught. From the very first scene, Ferris breaks the fourth wall and invites you into his world. A world where faking a fever gets you the day off, crashing a parade is totally normal, and borrowing a friend's dad's priceless Ferrari for a joyride across Chicago is just part of the plan. And somehow, it all feels completely possible. That's the genius of this movie. Ferris himself, played with effortless charm by Matthew Broderick, isn't just skipping school. He's dodging every adult in his path with the skill of a secret agent and the swagger of a rock star. But the real magic lies in the trio: Ferris, his reluctant best friend Cameron, and his girlfriend Sloane. Their chemistry is electric, especially as Cameron's existential crisis becomes one of the most surprisingly emotional arcs in teen cinema. And then there's Principal Rooney, the perfectly clueless villain trying to catch Ferris in the act. His escalating failure becomes its own hilarious subplot, filled with pratfalls, missed opportunities, and that epic muddy backyard faceplant. But beyond the laughs and absurdity, there's something deeper simmering under the surface. This movie isn't just about skipping school. It's about not letting life pass you by. Ferris says it best: life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. It's a message that hits even harder today, in a world that feels faster than ever. And as Ferris races against the clock to get home before his parents, you realize this wasn't just the best day off. It was the day every teenager wished they had. But if Ferris was about living your best life, this next film was about barely surviving it, on the icy edge of the unknown, where trust dies and monsters thrive. Number 8. The Thing, 1982. If Ferris Bueller was the ultimate day off, The Thing is the ultimate descent into paranoia. Directed by John Carpenter, this 1982 sci-fi horror masterpiece took everything audiences thought they knew about alien encounters and twisted it into something grotesque, claustrophobic, and unforgettable. Set in an isolated Antarctic research station, The Thing kicks off with a mysterious dog running through the snow, and from that eerie moment on, nothing feels safe. The plot is terrifying in its simplicity. A shape-shifting alien has infiltrated the team. It can imitate anyone. No one knows who's still human. And with every blood test, stare down, and sudden outburst, the tension ratchets up until it's almost unbearable. Kurt Russell leads the cast as MacReady, a no-nonsense helicopter pilot who becomes the group's reluctant leader. But what really makes this movie legendary isn't just the suspense, it's the effects. The practical creature designs by Rob Bottin are downright nightmarish. We're talking exploding chests, spider heads, and bodies that morph in ways the human mind isn't prepared to process. Even decades later, those effects hold up better than most CGI. But here's the real kicker. When The Thing hit theaters in 1982, it bombed. Audiences weren't ready for something so bleak, especially coming just weeks after E.T. had painted aliens as lovable companions. Critics panned it, calling it too violent, too nihilistic. Yet over time, something happened. The movie refused to be forgotten. It grew a massive cult following and is now considered one of the greatest horror films ever made. The real horror of The Thing isn't just the alien. It's the fear that your friend, your colleague, the guy sitting across from you, might not be who he says he is. It's a masterclass in tension, distrust, and survival when the rules no longer apply. And just when you think it can't get more intense, we shift from alien terror in Antarctica to a quiet little town, 4 boys, a railroad track, and a search for something much deeper than a body in the woods. Number 7. Stand By Me, 1986. Before the CGI explosions, before the billion-dollar box office numbers, there was Stand By Me, a film that proved the most powerful stories are often the quietest. Directed by Rob Reiner and based on a novella by Stephen King, this 1986 classic is less about finding a dead body and more about finding yourself. Set in 1959, but speaking to every generation since, Stand By Me follows 4 young boys, Gordy, Chris, Teddy, and Vern, on a journey through the Oregon woods to track down the corpse of a missing kid. But don't let the morbid premise fool you. What unfolds is a deeply moving exploration of childhood, friendship, trauma, and the painful realization that nothing gold can stay. The performances here are raw and genuine. Will Wheaton, as Gordy, carries the emotional weight of a grieving boy trying to make sense of his place in the world. River Phoenix, in one of the most hauntingly natural performances of the decade, plays Chris Chambers, the tough kid with a tender soul who sees more in Gordy than anyone else does. Their bond becomes the heart of the film, layered with complexity, vulnerability, and unspoken truths. There's no flashiness in Stand By Me, no supernatural twist, no grand explosions, just campfires, quiet conversations, and a slow, aching sense that this moment, this summer, is the last pure thing these boys will ever experience. And maybe the last time they'll truly understand each other. Reiner's direction is so subtle, you almost don't notice it. The camera lingers just long enough. The dialogue feels like it's been lifted from real life. The iconic leech scene, the junkyard standoff, the train tracks, all burned into memory without ever trying too hard to impress. And when the credits roll, you're left not just remembering the story, but remembering your own story, your childhood friends, your first glimpse of mortality, that strange sadness you couldn't name until you were older. It's a film that doesn't scream to be noticed, it whispers, and somehow, that whisper stays with you longer than any shout ever could. But from quiet reflection, we now take a wild ride, 88 miles per hour, into the most thrilling time travel adventure the 80s ever dreamed up. Number 6. Back to the Future, 1985. Every decade has its signature movie moment, but the 80s? It had a DeLorean hitting 88 miles per hour and leaving flaming tire tracks across cinema history. Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis and produced by Steven Spielberg, didn't just become a pop culture icon, it redefined what blockbuster storytelling could be. At the heart of it is Marty McFly, played with effortless charm by Michael J. Fox. He's a skateboarding teen from small-town America who accidentally gets sent back to 1955 in a souped-up time machine built by the wonderfully unhinged Doc Brown. Christopher Lloyd in peak manic genius form. But here's the twist. Marty runs into his teenage parents and accidentally disrupts the moment that would eventually lead to his own birth. That setup alone would be enough for most movies. But Back to the Future layers in razor-sharp humor, breathtaking pacing, and a time loop narrative that somehow never gets confusing. Every scene feels crucial. Every beat builds tension. Will Marty get his parents to fall in love? Can he generate the 1.21 gigawatts needed to get back home? And what happens if he doesn't? The film's genius lies in its balance. One moment you're laughing at Marty awkwardly navigating 1950s slang, the next you're gripping the edge of your seat as lightning strikes the clock tower. The chemistry between Fox and Lloyd is electric, literally. And the supporting cast, hello Biff Tannen, rounds out a world that feels as immersive as it is absurd. And let's talk legacy. From that iconic Huey Lewis soundtrack to Doc's wild-haired silhouette yelling, "Great Scott!" Back to the Future is the kind of film that tattooed itself into the DNA of pop culture. It's referenced, parodied, quoted, and adored because it dared to make science fiction fun, heartfelt, and just a little bit weird. But as Marty races back to 1985, we're about to plunge into a much darker version of the future, where dreams are artificial, memories are manufactured, and the line between man and machine is dangerously thin. Number 5. Blade Runner, 1982. If Back to the Future showed us a thrilling vision of what could go right with time travel, Blade Runner showed us what happens when the future goes hauntingly wrong. Directed by Ridley Scott, and loosely based on Philip K. Dick's novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? This 1982 neo-noir sci-fi epic didn't just predict the future, it made us question whether we even belonged in it. Set in a dystopian Los Angeles of 2019, Blade Runner introduces us to Rick Deckard, a weary Blade Runner played by Harrison Ford, whose job is to hunt down rogue replicants, bioengineered humanoids that look, act, and feel frighteningly human. But here's where it gets complicated. As Deckard closes in on his targets, he begins to question not just their humanity, but his own. The film is drenched in shadows, rain, and neon. Every shot feels like a painting. Every frame lingers just long enough to make you uneasy. Vangelis's moody synth score hums beneath everything, giving it a dreamlike quality that blurs the lines between reality and illusion. But it's Rutger Hauer's performance as the replicant Roy Batty that truly elevates the film into legend. His final monologue, "All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain," is one of the most poetic farewells in movie history. In that moment, the so-called villain becomes the soul of the film. Blade Runner didn't make waves at the box office on release. It was too slow, too dark, too strange for mainstream audiences. But over time, it became a cult classic, and then a masterpiece. Its questions about identity, memory, and mortality are even more relevant today in a world increasingly shaped by AI and synthetic realities. And even now, fans still debate. Was Deckard a replicant? Does it matter? Or is the bigger question, what does it mean to be human? Blade Runner isn't just a movie you watch. It's one you absorb, think about, and then carry with you. It gets under your skin and stays there. From the gritty neon streets of future LA, we now head back to something more familiar, but just as powerful. 5 teens, one Saturday, and a detention that turned into a cultural revolution. Number 4, The Breakfast Club, 1985. On the surface, it's just 5 teenagers stuck in detention on a Saturday. But The Breakfast Club, written and directed by the master of teen cinema, John Hughes, became something far bigger than its simple premise. It cracked open the shell of high school stereotypes and exposed the raw, unfiltered mess of being young, misunderstood, and desperate to be seen. You've got the brain, Brian, the athlete, Andrew, the basket case, Allison, the princess, Claire, and the criminal, Bender. They're strangers when they walk into that library, but over the course of one day, walls fall, secrets spill, and they begin to realize that the boxes they've been shoved into might not fit at all. What makes The Breakfast Club so powerful is its honesty. These characters aren't polished or perfect. They're insecure, angry, awkward, and deeply relatable. Bender hides pain behind sarcasm and a middle finger. Brian's smile covers the crushing weight of academic pressure. Claire is popular but lonely, and Andrew's whole identity is tied to what his father wants. Even Allison, the quietest of the group, explodes with raw emotion in one of the film's most unforgettable scenes. There's no flashy plot, no big twist. The magic comes from the conversations, the uncomfortable, real, sometimes funny, sometimes brutal moments that teens never say out loud. And let's not forget that iconic Simple Minds song, Don't You Forget About Me, which became the unofficial anthem of a generation. By the end of the film, nothing outwardly changes, but inside, everything has. That single day alters how they see each other and themselves. And while they may go back to their cliques on Monday, something unspoken will always link them. The final freeze frame of Bender, fist in the air, is one of the most iconic endings in movie history. It doesn't shout. It declares something quietly, powerfully. You are not alone. And now, from high school hallways to snake pits and ancient tombs, we follow a fedora-wearing archaeologist on a pulse-pounding adventure that kicked off one of the greatest franchises of all time. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. Before superheroes ruled the box office, there was one man with a whip, a fedora, and a fear of snakes: Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg and created by George Lucas, didn't just launch a franchise. It reignited the spirit of old-school adventure with a modern edge and a whole lot of swagger. From the opening sequence alone, dodging darts, outrunning a boulder, and escaping a collapsing temple, you know you're in for something special. Harrison Ford plays Dr. Henry Indiana Jones, the world's coolest archaeologist, with just the right mix of brains, brawn, and bruised charm. He's not invincible. He gets punched, tossed around, and constantly improvises. But that's what makes him so fun to watch. He survives not because he's the strongest, but because he refuses to quit. The plot centers around Indy racing against the Nazis to recover the Ark of the Covenant, an ancient biblical relic with unimaginable power. What could have been a dry historical chase becomes a roller coaster ride of traps, betrayals, and explosive set pieces. Whether it's fighting a giant Nazi next to a spinning airplane propeller or confronting face-melting forces of the divine, every moment feels like a cinematic thrill ride. But beyond the action, Raiders is a masterclass in pacing. It knows exactly when to slow down and let Indy's dry wit or his complicated romance with Marion Ravenwood shine through. Karen Allen's Marion is no damsel. She's tough, smart, and can drink anyone under the table. And let's not forget John Williams' score. That unforgettable Indiana Jones theme, it doesn't just play, it soars. It makes every whip crack, every leap, every punch feel larger than life. Raiders of the Lost Ark isn't just a movie. It's an experience, an escape into a world where danger lurks behind every stone wall. But so does wonder. It taps into something primal, our thirst for discovery, our love of heroes who aren't perfect, but never give up. And speaking of wonder, our next film takes us to a backyard where friendship, fear, and one very special extraterrestrial reminded us what it means to love and let go. Number 2, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982. Sometimes a movie doesn't need explosions, chases, or big-name stars to leave you speechless. Sometimes all it takes is a glowing finger, a red hoodie, and a quiet whisper, E.T. Phone Home. Directed by Steven Spielberg, E.T. the Extraterrestrial is one of the most emotionally resonant films of the entire decade, and maybe ever. The story is simple on the surface. A lonely boy named Elliot discovers an alien left behind on Earth and secretly takes him in. But what unfolds is something far deeper than your typical sci-fi flick. It's a tender, aching portrait of childhood, loss, and the kind of friendship that leaves a mark on your soul. Elliot, played with astonishing sincerity by a young Henry Thomas, doesn't just find a creature from another world, he finds someone who understands him. Spielberg, a master of capturing the world through a child's eyes, never makes the alien seem monstrous. E.T. is weird, yes, but also sweet, curious, scared, and kind. And through that bond, we see something rare in film: unconditional connection. From the quiet scenes of Elliot and E.T. mimicking each other's movements, to the now legendary bike flight across the moonlit sky, E.T. blends heart, fantasy, and wonder in perfect harmony. And underneath it all runs a gentle sadness, the inevitability that every childhood has to end. Every connection has a goodbye. The movie is packed with unforgettable moments. The government closing in, the glowing heart, the heartbreaking line, "I'll be right here." And of course, John Williams' soaring score that somehow sounds like childhood itself. What makes E.T. so timeless is its emotional honesty. It doesn't sugarcoat fear or grief, but it also never lets go of hope. It tells kids and adults that even when someone leaves, the love stays, and that sometimes the strangest friendships are the most beautiful. But after all those tears and tender moments, we're about to change gears fast, because our final movie is loud, weird, and downright supernatural. You know the line. Say it with us. Who you gonna call? Number 1. Ghostbusters, 1984. It starts with a library ghost, a flying card catalog, and a scream that echoes through the stacks. But by the time Ghostbusters is done with you, you've witnessed a full-on supernatural invasion of New York City, battled a 100-foot marshmallow man, and somehow laughed through all of it. Directed by Ivan Reitman and written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, this 1984 masterpiece broke all the rules, blending horror, comedy, and science fiction into something totally original and completely unforgettable. At its core, Ghostbusters is the story of 3 eccentric parapsychologists: Peter Venkman, Bill Murray; Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd; and Egan Spengler, Harold Ramis, who get fired from their cushy university jobs and decide to turn ghost hunting into a small business. Along with their new recruit, Winston Zeddemore, Ernie Hudson, they battle everything from slimy poltergeists to ancient Sumerian gods, armed with proton packs and an attitude that says, "We ain't afraid of no ghost. The secret weapon? Bill Murray." His dry, deadpan delivery as Venkman turns every scene into a comedy clinic. Whether he's sweet-talking a possessed Sigourney Weaver or shrugging off near-death experiences, he brings the kind of chaotic charm that no other actor could have pulled off. And then there's Rick Moranis as the awkward, love-starved neighbor, adding just the right amount of nerdy chaos to the mix. But Ghostbusters didn't just make you laugh, it genuinely creeped you out. The library ghost, the demon dogs, the haunting build-up to Gozer's arrival, Spielberg-level suspense, wrapped in comedy gold. And let's not forget the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, an absurd, hilarious, yet somehow terrifying monster that became one of cinema's most iconic images. Oh, and the theme song? Ray Parker Jr.'s catchy, ghost-fighting anthem became an instant cultural phenomenon. If you were alive in the 80s, you couldn't escape it. And honestly, why would you want to? Ghostbusters was lightning in a bottle, perfect casting, razor-sharp writing, and a tone so unique that countless reboots and sequels have tried, and mostly failed, to recapture its magic. And with that, we've reached the end of our list. But trust us, the legacy of these 80s classics is far from over. So let's wrap this up with one final thought. So there you have it, 10 unforgettable films that defined a generation, redefined genres, and still manage to hit just as hard today as they did when they first lit up those VHS shelves. From ghost traps to glowing fingers, time-traveling DeLoreans to detention hall confessions, these weren't just movies. They were experiences, moments, cultural touchstones that left fingerprints on everything that came after. The 80s gave us more than just big hair and synth soundtracks. It gave us stories that stuck, characters we still quote, scenes we still reference, and emotions that sneak up on us when we least expect it. Whether you've seen them 100 times or you're just discovering them for the first time, each one of these films is a reminder of what cinema used to feel like. Raw, inventive, personal, and a little bit weird in all the right ways. Which one was your favorite? Did we miss a classic that everyone needs to see? Let us know in the comments. We're always looking to add more to the watch list.